I don't get it, I honestly don't. It's Monday morning, right? And the whole office feels off. Like the air conditioning is blowing freezer air straight down my neck, but only in my corner of the room. My Murren, who was literally at my desk on Friday afternoon, crying with laughter over some stupid video of a dog trying to catch a laser pointer. She's treating me like I'm a piece of furniture. A slightly annoying piece of furniture she has to walk around. I did my usual morning thing, you know? Grabbed my coffee, walked over to her desk, all bright and breezy, like, "Hey, how was your weekend?" And the look I got back. God, it wasn't even angry. It was just blank. She looked up from her screen, blinked once, gave me this tiny, tight little nod that didn't even involve her neck muscles, and then her eyes were gone, back to her spreadsheet. A nod. That's all I got from the woman who used to send me memes in the middle of a workday. And the emails, all day. Usually it's, "Hey Ria, can you take a look at this?" With like, a smiley face or something. Today, "Ria, please find the attached Q3 projections for review. Regards, Murren." Regards. Who says regards to someone they were sharing a bag of chips with 3 days ago? It's insane. I keep racking my brain, going over every single second, and the only thing that's different is her promotion party on Saturday. The one I actually went to. For her. You know me, right? Big crowds, small talk, it's my personal version of hell. My social battery is the size of a pea. But this was a big deal for her, a promotion to supervisor, so I thought, okay, for Murren, I'll do it. I thought she'd be, I don't know, happy, thrilled even. Instead, I get this. The silent treatment. It's so unbelievably childish. Honestly, what is her problem? I go out of my way to celebrate her big moment, and this is the thanks I get. It makes no sense. I'm starting to get pissed off, you know? Like, really pissed off. Thinking back, Murren has always been, well, she's always been Murren. She was assigned to mentor me when I first started here 5 years ago, a terrified junior drowning in spreadsheets and corporate jargon, convinced I'd be fired within a month. She was the one who patiently explained the same damn pivot table function to me 4 times in one afternoon without a hint of annoyance. Just a calm, steady voice. "Okay, let's try it again from the top. No worries." Other seniors would have rolled their eyes, but she just pulled her chair closer. I remember this one time, about a year in, I completely messed up the presentation for the Sterling account. I mean, catastrophically wrong numbers, the kind that gets people fired. My boss, David, was turning this terrifying shade of purple, his knuckles white as he gripped the conference table. I felt the blood drain from my face, and I was about to just burst into tears. And Murren, who was just a senior colleague at the time, stepped right in front of me, physically shielding me, and said, "That's my mistake, David. I gave Ria the wrong data set to work from. I'll have the correct version for you in an hour." She took the heat, all of it. She stayed with me until 10 p.m. that night helping me fix it, never once saying, "I told you so," about double-checking the source files. She even ordered pizza. That's just who she is, or who she was to me. We became friends, naturally. Or, well, I guess I thought we were friends. It was an easy friendship for me, because she did all the heavy lifting. She was the one who'd remember I had a dentist appointment and text me, "Hope it went okay," afterwards. She was the one who brought me a container of her mom's chicken soup when I had the flu, leaving it on my doorstep with a note that said, "Don't even think about getting out of bed." Because she knew I felt too gross to see anyone. She just always showed up, a constant, comforting presence in the background of my life. She was the one I'd complain to about my landlord, the one I'd ask for advice about my car insurance. She was my go-to person for adulting, my human Google for life's problems. And her birthday parties, God, they were a running joke between us. A ritual. Every single year, like clockwork, I'd get the invitation. A cute, bubbly evite for a backyard barbecue with fairy lights or a night out at some loud, trendy bar downtown. And every single year, I'd send back my polite, well-rehearsed decline. "Aw, Em, you're the sweetest for inviting me. But you know me, total social phobe. The thought of all those people gives me actual hives. I'd just be a nervous wreck in the corner. Have so much fun, though. We'll celebrate soon." And she'd always reply with something sweet and understanding. "No worries at all, Ria. I totally get it. We'll do our own little celebration later. Your comfort is what matters." We never did, of course. The later never came. I'd just get her a gift card to her favorite bookstore and she'd say thank you, and that would be that. I figured she got it. She knew I wasn't a party person. I thought she accepted that part of me. I mean, she always said she did. I was just taking her at her word, right? It was a perfect arrangement for me. I got all the benefits of her kindness and support, and all I had to do was nothing. I was just enjoying her help at work, her little check-in texts, her unwavering loyalty. It was just the air I breathed. It never, not once, occurred to me that I had to do anything to maintain it. It was just there, like the office Wi-Fi, always on, always reliable. Then 2 weeks ago, the email landed. The big announcement from HR, subject line, organizational update. My eyes scanned the corporate fluff until I saw her name, bolded and underlined. We are pleased to announce the promotion of Murrin Hayes to department supervisor. My first feeling wasn't happiness for her. I'm ashamed to admit that now, but it's the God's honest truth. It wasn't pride or excitement for my friend. It was a jolt of anxiety, a cold, prickling fear that shot right through my chest and settled in my stomach like a stone. She's my boss now. The dynamic had shifted, instantly, seismically. The easy, comfortable safety net she provided, the one I had taken for granted for 5 years, was suddenly different, hierarchical. I felt this desperate, urgent need to recalibrate, to make sure our special relationship was secure, to make sure she knew I was still her person, that I wasn't just another subordinate now. So when the invitation for her promotion party came out a few days later, my reaction was completely different from all the years before. This wasn't some casual backyard barbecue with cheap beer in a cooler and paper plates. This was at Vinia, that ridiculously expensive restaurant downtown with the wine list that looks like a phone book and valet parking. The kind of place you only go to on an expense account. I scanned the details, the formal tone, the location, the Saturday night timing, and my mind started racing. This wasn't just for her close friends and family. An event like this, at a place like this, the big bosses would be there. David, our department head for sure. I heard a rumor that even the regional director, a guy I'd only ever seen in company-wide Zoom calls, was flying in for it. It was a networking event disguised as a celebration. It was a power move. And a switch just flipped in my brain. All my carefully constructed excuses, my genuine social anxiety, my deep-seated hatred of crowds and meaningless small talk about the weather. It just evaporated. It was like it never existed. It was replaced by a sharp, clear, cold ambition. I had to go. There was no question. Of course, I told myself it was for Murrin. I spun this whole narrative in my head, a beautiful little story where I was the hero. She's my best friend, my mentor. Of course, I have to be there for her biggest moment. This is different from a birthday. This is professional. I even managed to convince myself that my sudden appearance after years of bailing would be this grand, touching gesture. Like, see how much you mean to me. I'm facing my biggest fear just for you. I pictured her seeing me walk in, her eyes welling up with happy tears, pulling me into a huge hug in front of everyone, maybe even saying something to David like, "See, this is Rhea, the one I was telling you about. She's the best." Yeah, I really thought that. I was actually excited. I spent a whole afternoon picking out the perfect dress, something professional but chic. I was ready to perform. I walked into that party like I was walking onto a movie set where I was the star. The room was buzzing, all low lighting, jazz music, and the clinking of expensive glasses. I spotted Murrin right away. She was standing near the bar, talking to a small group of people who looked normal. Like just regular friends, maybe her family. One of them was an older woman who looked a lot like her. They were laughing at something one of the guys said, a real, unforced laugh that made Murrin's shoulders shake. For a fleeting second, I thought about walking over there, about doing the normal human thing. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw him. David, our department head, holding a glass of dark amber whiskey and talking animatedly to the regional director. Showtime. I completely bypassed Murrin's little group, giving them a quick, dismissive glance as if they were just part of the scenery. I made a beeline for the corporate power corner. I just kind of wedged myself into the conversation with a big, bright smile plastered on my face. I didn't wait for an introduction or a natural pause. I just grabbed Murren's arm as she was turning around, mid-sentence. "There's the woman of the hour," I said, my voice at least 2 notches too loud for the elegant atmosphere. She looked genuinely surprised to see me, a flicker of something I couldn't read, confusion, shock, in her eyes before she masked it. "Rhea, wow, you came." "Of course I came. Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss this for the world," I gushed, squeezing her arm tighter. Before she could even respond, before she could introduce me to her mom or her college friends who were standing right there, watching this whole bizarre interaction, I had my phone out. "We have to get a picture, right now, for the memories." I pulled her into one of those tight, awkward side hugs, angling us so that David and the director were perfectly framed in the background. I opened my front camera, the flash making her blink in the dim light. "Okay, say promotion," I chirped, and snapped about 5 pictures in rapid succession. I didn't even look at her. I immediately disengaged, my head down, completely absorbed in my screen as I swiped through the photos. "Oh, this one's perfect," I muttered to myself. I could feel her standing next to me, just waiting, this weird, heavy silence hanging in the air between us. I didn't care. I was on a mission. I picked the best shot, one where I looked great and she looked slightly startled, slapped on a high-contrast filter that made us look glossy and important, and started typing. The caption was a masterpiece of corporate speak and fake intimacy, I thought. "So incredibly proud of my bestie on her huge promotion. We're the ultimate power duo, the strongest team. Can't wait to see all the amazing things we do together, onwards and upwards." And then, the masterstroke. I tagged her, I tagged David, I tagged the regional director, and I even tagged the official company LinkedIn page. I hit post and finally looked up at her, beaming, expecting, I don't know, gratitude. Awe at my social media savvy. "There," I announced proudly, holding up the screen for her to see. "Now everyone knows." I honestly didn't notice the way her smile had frozen on her face, a tight, painful-looking grimace. I didn't notice the confused, slightly hostile stares from her real friends. I just saw the like notification pop up from our boss almost instantly, and I felt a warm, satisfying glow. Mission accomplished. Which brings me back to Monday, back to the Arctic chill around my desk, a little bubble of icy silence in the middle of a bustling office. The silence was deafening, you know. By lunchtime, I was starting to properly panic. The usual group I ate with, people I'd shared countless mediocre salads with, suddenly had urgent errands to run, or were so swamped they had to eat at their desks. It was pathetic. Transparent. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I cornered Ben from accounting at the coffee machine. Ben's a good guy, neutral territory. He's like the Switzerland of our office. He always stays out of the drama. "Ben, hey," I started, trying to inject a breezy, casual tone into my voice that I absolutely did not feel. "Is it just me, or is everyone acting super weird today? Especially Murren. Did I miss some memo?" He got this really uncomfortable look on his face, the one people get when they're about to tell you that you have spinach in your teeth. He busied himself adding a third and then a fourth packet of sugar to his coffee, avoiding my eyes. "Look, Rhea," he mumbled, his voice low. "It's probably nothing. You know how Mondays are." "No, it's something," I pressed, my voice getting a little tight. "I'm not crazy, just tell me, please, what are people saying?" He finally let out a big, heavy sigh, the sound of a man who knew he was about to step on a landmine. "I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I was talking to Sarah from Murren's book club this morning. She was at the party on Saturday." He paused, stirring his coffee with a ferocity it didn't deserve, like it held the secrets to the universe. She said Murren's friends all know who you are. Or who you aren't. They know you've never been to any of her birthday parties or her New Year's Eve thing, or even that potluck she had last summer. Not one. He finally looked at me, his eyes full of pity, which was somehow worse than anger. "So, for you to show up at this big, corporate thing, ignore them, and then, the whole social media post Sarah said that to them, it came across a little opportunistic. Like you were there for the bosses, not for Murren." The word hung in the air between us. Opportunistic. It felt like he'd slapped me. The blood rushed to my face, hot and shameful. It was all clicking into place, in the most horrible, sickening way. Murren wasn't just in a bad mood. This was intentional. This was a strategy. The cold shoulder, the formal emails, it was a system. She was performing a programmatic severance of our friendship right in front of my eyes. And it wasn't just her. The way my lunch buddies scattered, the way people suddenly found their shoes fascinating when I walked down the hallway, it was coordinated. She had influence now, real influence, and she was using it. I wasn't just being ignored. I was being systematically, quietly, and efficiently isolated. I couldn't sleep for 3 days. I just kept replaying that night, that conversation with Ben, over and over. By Thursday, I looked and felt like a zombie. I knew I couldn't let it go on. I had to do something. So I waited until I saw her packing up her bag to leave, until most of the office had cleared out. I walked over to her desk, my heart hammering against my ribs like it wanted out. "Murren, can we talk for a second?" She didn't even look up at first, just kept methodically putting her laptop in its case. "I have to get home, Rhea." "Please," I said, and I hated the pleading note in my own voice. "Just 5 minutes." She finally sighed and looked at me. And God, her eyes were just empty. All the warmth I was so used to seeing there was gone. It was like looking at a stranger. We walked to a small, empty conference room. I started talking before she could even sit down, the words tumbling out of me in a desperate, jumbled mess. I told her I was sorry, that I never meant to make her feel used, that I'm just an idiot when it comes to social stuff, a complete moron. I said I valued her friendship more than anything. She listened. She just stood there, perfectly still, and listened to the whole pathetic speech. She didn't interrupt. When I finally ran out of steam, there was this long, terrible silence. Then she spoke, and her voice was so calm, so quiet, it was 1,000 times worse than if she had screamed at me. "I accept your apology, Rhea." A tiny, stupid flicker of hope ignited in my chest. "You do?" "Yes," she said, her expression unchanging. "But I don't need you to show up for me when the bosses are watching. I needed you 2 years ago, on my 30th birthday, when all my friends were there to cut the cake with me. I needed you last year, when my boyfriend broke up with me, and I just wanted a friend to get drunk with on a Tuesday night. I needed you for the small moments, Rhea, the ones that don't get posted on LinkedIn." She took a small step back, a final, deliberate separation. "You weren't there for any of them, so we'll just be colleagues from now on. It's better for both of us that way.